Maybe, man. Maybe there was a cave in. You don't know.
It's a fucking sinkhole. They still had the party in the backyard, though. They were like, okay, kids, don't run too close to the sinkhole. Welcome back, citizens of De Niro Nation, to Our Hero De Niro, the only podcast that is watching and recapping Robert De Niro's entire filmography in random order. I'm Mike, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Mike.
No relation.
And today we're talking about the 1995 French comedy film, 101 Nights. It's my turn to recap this week, so I hope you're all very excited to hear me mispronounce basically every French word or name that comes up. I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce this film's original title. You know, I don't speak French. I took Spanish lessons when I was in high school, and I'm just not going to bother here. Mike, were you familiar with this film at all before we rolled it last week?
Absolutely not. I honestly, I don't know how to put a strong enough kind of spin on this. This might be the most I'd never heard of a film before in history, honestly.
Right. There's a lot going for it in that regard. It's foreign. It's 30 years old. It seems like a relatively small film from this director, Agnes Varda. So no, I definitely hadn't heard of it. And we were confused. Well, you were confused as to whether or not this was even a feature film or a documentary last week. We're happy to report that it is an actual film. It's not a documentary, so I'm very happy about that at the very least. So this film, for those like us who are not aware of its existence, this film is conceived as part of the worldwide celebration of cinema's centenary, and it really serves as a tribute to the first 100 years of filmmaking, which is pretty neat idea. It stars Michael.
What is centenary?
Like 100-year birthday.
Do you mean centennial?
Centenary is a word.
I don't think I've ever heard this word.
Centenary is a noun that is defined as the 100th anniversary of a significant event.
Is it apocryphal?
I think it's just a word, man.
Well, it's not apocryphal, but its use is in serious decline. Let's look up centennial.
Well, I'm bringing it back.
I've never heard that word. I was like, what is going on here? Meanwhile, centennial is on the decline as well, honestly.
There you go.
So I guess people just aren't talking about things being 100 years old anymore. Well, I learned a word today. That's great.
That's why people come to this podcast, man, for insightful film criticism, learning new words. This film stars Michelle Piccoli as Simone Cinema, a 100-year-old film enthusiast who hires a young film student, Camille, played by Julie Gayet, to help him recall the great moments of movie history before his 101st birthday. This film is notable for featuring a wide array of cameos from international film stars, including Catherine Deneuve, Alain Delon, Robert De Niro, baby, and Marcello Mastroianni. Mastroianni? Marcello Mastroianni.
I think it's probably Marcello. I mean,
Marcello?
I would assume.
Yeah. Could be
Marcello. But it has two L's.
Sure.
Yeah.
Marcello, please write in at ourherodeniro@gmail.com and tell us how to pronounce your name. We'll issue a correction in the next episode. And the film
For what it's worth, it's embarrassing that we don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, because this guy is like one of the biggest Italian actors in Italian film history.
Okay.
So it's very funny that we're struggling to pronounce his name.
Is this an Italian film podcast?
You know what I reflected on, honestly, while we were watching this film, is just what a blind spot really all foreign film is for me, but especially foreign film from any non-East Asian country.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen a fair bit of Korean film, a fair bit of Japanese film, a little bit of Chinese film. I have seen, I would guess, from like non-English speaking countries in Europe, fewer than 25 films in my entire life. But what about you? Where do you think you're at on that?
Yeah, I think it's pretty similar for me. You know, when you check your Letterboxd stats, that's letterboxd.com/Mike back at you and letterboxd.com/Mike the Fab. You can see, you know, the countries of origin for the films that you've seen. And yeah, it's very, very few foreign films for me. You know, I gotta juice those stats. I gotta watch some more, but I don't know, probably after the completion of this podcast project that we're doing.
I think that after this, we should just do a podcast that's just something cutesy about foreign films in general.
Yeah.
And we should just roll a random
Country.
any film made outside of the United States. Like that'll be our set that we just roll, and we're gonna do it forever.
You just have a list of every foreign film ever?
Yeah, it would be most films ever made.
Just
like it would be
most.
significantly more than half.
We just do it until we die.
Yeah, we would never be able. I mean, we would never catch up. More than one
No.
comes out every week.
We would have to United Nations would need to issue
We should have like a moratorium on.
that's it. And the last thing I'll say about this film before we get into it is that the film doesn't have a conventional narrative. It's noted for having a whimsical tone, self-referential humor, and it's a very quirky, unique, campy kind of film. I don't really know how I'm going to be able to properly recap it. So if you're interested in this film, if you're interested in a film that celebrates the first 100 years of film history, I recommend you just go and pause the episode right now and watch it and then come back. We'll still be here waiting for you. Okay, welcome back. I'm glad you took the time to watch the film. It's going to make the recap make a lot more sense for you. Before we get into the recap, though, Mike, there is one thing I wanted to cover. This is unfinished business from last week. Last week during your outro, because we alternate the recaps here at Our Hero De Niro. You realized you had a moment of clarity, a moment of lucidity where you realized that your outro was running long, to which I replied that all of your outros run long, relatively speaking. So I went back, I did the math when I probably should have been working on any number of assignments that I had due for my MSW program. And I went back through the last 10 films that we've recapped. So the last 5 of yours, the last 5 of mine, and I compared the length of the outros. Would you like to start with you or me?
I'll start with you.
Okay. So the last 5 episodes of the podcast that I recapped were Born to Win, The Comedian, Stanley and Iris, Grudge Match, and New York, New York. And the average length of my outro, that is from when you start saying the outro text to the very end of the episode before the fade out, the average length of my outros was 36 seconds.
Oh, there's no way I'm that short. So,
well, would you like to hear yours?
What if I just said no?
I mean, I'm
skip the rest of the segment.
Probably just going to cut that in post and say it anyways.
I think it would be incredible if you let me say no, and just our listeners never get the answer to this question. They have to go back and check themselves. Do your own work, citizens. You can't outsource this all to
do your own research. Well, your last 5 episodes, I didn't count last week's What Just Happened because that's where you had the moment of clarity. So the last 5 before that were Great Expectations, Stone, Killers of the Flower Moon, Tenet, and Killer Elite. So the average length of my outros was 36 seconds. The average length of your outros, 1 minute and 24 seconds.
Oh yeah, there's no way I was 36 seconds. I think that's great. It's folksy.
It's
For what it's worth, I think 36 seconds is way too short.
To
I
say
think that
what?
almost
The 5
a minute
things
and a half
that we say?
is too long. I think we'd be better off if we were both like around a minute.
Why?
Because we're playing everyone out. Like it's like doing it so quickly, doing it in 36 seconds. It's like you're like rushing me out of the house. Like, no, take a minute, luxuriate in a little bit. Like we have a little bit of repartee. We chuckle a little bit at each other during the outro. It's part of the show. It doesn't have to be all business.
I don't agree with that. I think it's like the kick in Inception. It's that transition. We're transitioning you out of our beautiful world of De Niro Nation and into reality.
There's no way you fucking believe this. I'm just imagining experiencing the Inception kick in life. That's an experience you want our listeners to have. That's what you want them to walk away with, feeling the disorientation of moving between like Inception zones.
Listen, when I podcast outro, I do it the same way that I make love. As efficiently as possible. I might yell a bit. I might ask why things are being done a certain way, but I'm just trying to get out the door in 36 seconds or less.
Because for Mike, every lover is 90s era Gwyneth Paltrow.
Listen, if they're kind enough to let me inside of them, sure. Well, on that note, let's move over to our recap of 101 Nights.
I don't know how you're going to explain this movie either, by the way.
It's 1995. It's French. It's quite lovely looking. So right off the bat, it's shot in the 1.66 by 1 aspect ratio. It's obviously shot on film. This is pre-digital. And I have to say, we both complimented the cinematography pretty early. I will say right up top, we actually watched this film together in person with wife of the pod, Caroline, which was a nice treat. So we were able to have just that little bit of conversation. So what did you think of the look when it was being established, when we were starting off?
It's a beautiful film. It is one of my 5 favorite films visually that we have watched for the podcast. I think it's fucking incredible, honestly. Yeah, it was a beautiful film. I think I enjoyed every shot for the entire film.
I agree. I think that this film, it feels like it was shot on a shoestring budget. Like they rented an estate or a mansion in the French countryside for a week and put up a bunch of film posters and shot most of the film right there. And then there's also a subplot that takes place in Paris. But, when we started off this film, Robert De Niro's pretty low in the billing here. So I joked that we probably wouldn't see him until around an hour and a half into this 110-minute long film. But we get a shot of some old guy in a foot bath. The cinematography is nice. We're setting the scene. And we see some cars driving through a film shoot somewhere outside, presumably in France, and we're starting to get introduced to these characters. This is going to be a little tough for me because it's already difficult for me to keep track of characters' names in films, and now they're French names, so they may as well be gibberish to me. They may as well be wingdings. But
the 2 main characters have the same name, which makes it pretty easy to remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the protagonist of the film, I guess you would say, is the protagonist Simone Cinema or this lady? Are they both?
I think it's the lady.
Yeah. So the protagonist of the film is this woman, Camille. She's a young master's student studying film, and she's been hired by Simone Cinema to basically tell her stories about films. He's losing his memory. This is a whimsical, lighthearted film, but he's pretty deep in the throes of dementia, as we will come to understand over the course of the film. So she arrives at the mansion, and Cinema's butler explains the job to her that, he can't walk anymore. He's on the verge of his 101st birthday. He wants someone to talk to him about films and kind of help his memory out. And she'll be paid a handsome amount for her troubles. I think it's like $500 a night or something like that, which back in 1995, that's pretty darn nice for 2 hours of work.
I'm trying to remember because it was 500 francs a night. Franc to USD. We should look up this conversion. So it is about 1, and the earliest date on record. It was worth less than $1 back then. It's worth more than $1 now. But in any case, yeah, it was probably she says that it's 50,000 francs for the job just for the summer. So she was probably getting paid between 40 and 50,000 American dollars in the 90s, which was a lot more money back then to sit and talk about movies for 2 hours a night. So it's the fucking sweetest deal on earth. And to be a young French woman making that kind of money back in 1995, all they spend their money on is cigarettes and camera props we
and
know.
Shit. Oh,
right,
yeah. We've done the research.
From the what was that film called? Midnight Run, from the Midnight Run episode, that cigarettes were like $1.01 a pack.
Yeah.
So they're going to be in cigarettes for a long time with this kind of money.
So she walks into Cinema's bedroom, and he gives her a little jump scare by popping out of bed wearing Nosferatu makeup. And then immediately after, we see footage from the actual film Nosferatu kind of spliced in as an interstitial. So one thing about the way this film is presented to us, because it's a love letter to the first 100 years of cinema, there are a lot of references to classic films, and there's a lot of clips of classic films. So often in the film, a character will say or do something that is a reference to, it's almost like the Family Guy of its time in some ways. The French Family Guy, yeah. Family Monsieur. Actually, when it comes to this film, in my notes, I kind of spoiled this by opening my goddamn mouth after we finished the film. In my notes, I referred to Simon Cinema as Mr. Movies because... because in the description for the film, they refer to him as Monsieur Cinema, and I just thought, well, the American English translation of that would be Mr. Movies. So that is what I'm going to refer to him as for the rest of this recap.
The character name Mr. Cinema is so funny to me. I really enjoy. So here's my first note about this film, right? Just to cut in. I really enjoy its ironic, self-aware sense of humor. It's really my kind of very stupid comedy comedy. Like the character's name being Mr. Cinema is so dumb. It's like it's almost
Mr.
all
Movies.
comedy-esque.
Yeah.
Like it's really silly. I like that. Did you enjoy that about the film?
Oh, absolutely. He's like he's not a real person because his memory is
Right.
fading, and he keeps thinking that he is famous movie stars or directors. So he's like this living embodiment of film history and culture in a really neat way. I like that
Movies.
conceit, Mr. Movies.
Yep.
So Camille talks to her boyfriend, and she's excited about the job. His name is also Camille. So to differentiate, they call him Micah, which, man, talk about being cucked in your relationship. I wonder if that'll come back to haunt him later. The cucking, not the having the same name. There's nothing he could have done about that.
I don't remember what it sounded like when they said it, but it has to be Mika, right?
Oh, shit.
I don't think that would be
probably.
pronounced Micah. Yeah.
I'm batting 0 for 3 or 4 right now.
and for what it's worth, I don't think that Mr. Cinema is Simone Cinema. I think it's Simon Cinema. I think they said it, didn't they, in the film?
Oh,
But
is
I
it?
could be misremembering that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Mr.
Yeah.
Movies,
Doesn't
man.
really matter. Mr.
This
Movies. That's all we're going to call him. So
an American podcast. So back in Mr. Movie's bedroom, you know, he lives in this gigantic French mansion. His bedroom is huge. He has
Maybe I feel
this.
kind of bad about myself, honestly.
Why?
It's like I don't think I'm on track to ever have a house like that. You know, I think that would be really cool
Yeah.
to like have been like this Hollywood big shot or whatever the French equivalent of Hollywood is, and just get to while out your demented last days in this giant palatial paradise that you own, where you've just put up like all this shit about all the stuff you love. Like it seems like a hell of a way to go out. I was thinking this guy was having an awesome like last year of his life.
I think the grounds would be nice to have, but in general, I think having a house that large, it's like, I think it'd be kind of sad. I think I'd feel insignificant in my own home. You know,
He's always got people there, though. It's
that's
always
true.
filled
He
with
really
people.
does always have people.
I think
there.
if you have that kind of life where you're going to get doted on by like just like the ancillary people in your life, like as you die, like I think it would be really cool to have a big house with that kind of space.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you've convinced me. Okay, let's work on building that generational wealth. Get a French estate. I wonder if we'll be able to do it through podcasting. Statistically speaking,
God, I hope
probably
so.
not.
God willing.
Yeah,
Yep.
God willing. So just for flavor here, in the background of a lot of scenes at the mansion, Mr. Movies has this one maid who just ballets everywhere, but I forgot the word ballet when I was furiously taking notes while we were watching. So I wrote the maid parkours everywhere, and I like that visual a lot more. She's just parkouring back in 1995.
It's really good. Well, ballet was kind of the proto parkour. In its
That's
way,
true.
You know?
Yeah. I think I'd
You're just parkouring in a contained kind of uniform environment.
Yeah. I'd probably rather parkour than ballet. 1, parkour can get you from A to B very efficiently. And 2, I think it's less damaging to your toes than ballet.
I mean, I think that in terms of that kind of stuff that you could do, I have to assume that ballet and parkour are on, like, I would assume similar levels of required physical skill and exertion, right? They both seem intensely difficult.
Yeah.
I feel like parkour is like a million times cooler. Like, in that
absolutely.
category of like practice and effort required, I feel like parkour's got to be like one of the coolest things you could possibly learn to do.
It is pretty cool. That would have been a fun recommendation this week, something parkour related. But Camille talks to him about Citizen Kane, and you know, we get references to Citizen Kane. It's hard to describe just textually like this in one of our linear kind of recaps. But, you know, Mr. Movies, he's nearly 101. His legs don't work. He doesn't remember some things. And they talk about a Yoko Ono film. You know, it's a lot of name dropping, a lot of references, a lot of cameos, but in a very sincere and campy and enthusiastic kind of way. It's not like the way you would see it in a modern Hollywood film where it's like, oh, they did this to, you know, algorithmically boost engagement when people open the Netflix app and they can see one of 20 different pre-selected posters. And this one, oh, it has a picture of some celebrity who has a minor role for 5 seconds. Oh my God, is that 50 Cent? Holy shit, I gotta play this movie. That's Righteous Kill. That's what they did with Righteous Kill. They predicted Netflix.
In shitification, right?
Yeah, it's all downhill. It really, that's why they just celebrated the first 100 years of film history. They're not going to bother making 201 nights, you know. So we see footage from the original King Kong film, and Mr. Movies talks about how he actually invented King Kong back when he was managing MGM. So these thoughts are running through his head, but he's very sincere. He's very charming in his dementious kind of way that he's talking about all this stuff. I don't think dementious is a word, but I feel like this is an opportunity for me to coin. What?
It's just demented is the word.
Yeah, I know. I think dementious sounds better, don't you?
Dementor. Yeah.
Dementor. I think dementious would be a pretty good name for a senile Mad Max villain. You know?
That's pretty good. I love Mr. Movie's note here in this scene that it's the contrast between items that are of different sizes that is like the essence of film. And I enjoy that just conceptually as a distillation of what really is the essence of film, which is essentially just seeing things that aren't possible. Like that's like the most magical stuff in film is when you see something that is completely visually convincing, but could not possibly happen in physical reality. And, back a billion years ago when they made the original King Kong, that was what they could do. That was that, it was just a giant monkey. Yep. It's really cool.
That first film of the train coming at the screen. It's like, you wouldn't actually stand in front of a moving train. So you get that sensation.
That must have been wild. Yeah. So
would have pissed my pants back in 1855 or whenever that came out.
It's like have you ever done in the Oculus Rift those things where you're standing up really high and you like look down? Like it's crazy.
I did try one of those once.
Feels.
Yeah,
it's like you look down and you get the stomach feeling.
You get the sensation.
Like a roller coaster. It's like that must have been what it would have felt like for film to be a new medium and experience that train thing. I'm sure that's what it would have felt like. It would have been insane. That's so cool.
So back in away from the mansion, we see a little bit of Mika's, the boyfriend's life. So he's an aspiring young, whatever, French Mike. We see that he's an aspiring young filmmaker. He's trying to get a short film off the ground. So that's kind of that subplot of the film. And he works as an intern on a real film set as the assistant to a French actress, something Ardent. I didn't write the full name. I didn't catch it.
Fanny
Ardent. Thank you. And then we get a shot of Mr. Movies he wears Mr. Movies. He's wheeled around in his wheelchair. He's always very dressed up, like dressed to the nines in formal wear. And he usually wears a wig of like straight gray neck length hair, but he takes it off a lot too. So I'm not really sure why he bothers with the wig.
Yeah, I was really confused.
He's not committing to it.
It probably does make sense. Like there's probably an explanation for the context in which he dons each respective look. Yeah. But like I never was able to understand what the cohesion was between when he chose to and to not wear the wig.
Right. After that, we see Mika and Camille at this. It's like a garage / loft / their movie studio that them and their friends use. And, presumably somewhere in France. And they're very horny throughout this entire film because they're French. So we get a surprising amount of sexy time in this film, or just people kissing and whatnot, being horned up for each other. Yeah. They will do that. We get footage from, I didn't know this film. It was like Aladdin. It was like some old ass live action Aladdin. I feel really bad for not knowing it. Yeah. I did not get all of the film references here.
Nor did I.
It made me kind of want to go, and I felt kind of like a fake cinephile, What am I doing in this Robert De Niro project watching all this Drek for the podcast, like Righteous Kill and Godsend?
Yep.
I could be watching the classics.
This is our version of cinephilia.
Yes. Later on in the day, Mika and Camille are out at a restaurant with a bunch of people, presumably somewhere in France. Mr. Movies, meanwhile, he's back at home in his bed. And he's visited by the Lumiere brothers, I think are their names. They were the men who invented the moving picture.
Yeah.
So he's hallucinating them. He's having visual hallucinations. His butler is dressed like a clown for some reason. This is a very fantastical film, so it's very hard, sometimes difficult to separate what is actually happening versus what Mr. Movies is seeing in his state of mind. Camille visits and meets some director friend of Mr. Movies. I think it was, I don't want to say, I can't remember if it was Gerard Depardieu or someone else at this point, but it was some famous director
coming,
that they'd
right?
recognize. Yeah, he is coming at some point. Yes.
Yeah. I was wondering if he was the one you were thinking of.
No, it was someone else, I think, but we see footage from a film that I didn't recognize. They have a conversation about these films, and then we get this interesting way. So the film is technically episodic. It's 4 episodes, and we're wrapping up the end of episode 1 by a child sliding into frame and saying to focus on her instead of the details as she slides by. And this is when I wrote, how am I going to recap this movie? And we see a circus like walking by outside of the estate. And then the girl says, end of episode 1. Do you have any thoughts before we move on to episode 2?
No, it was the episode break when I first started to feel really confused. But no, I think you did a nice job with the recap.
Oh, that's great. 1 down, 3 to go.
I don't know what else to say. 1 down, 3 to go. You're doing a nice job. I just can't wait to meet De Niro's character.
Oh my God. Yeah. Keep waiting, buddy.
I'm sure he'll be here in episode 2.
Oh God. Yeah, sure. So it's the start of episode 2 and Mika wants to shoot a scene with his friends in order to get funding for a short film. Camille leaves to go to Mr. Movie's mansion and she borrows a bike from some groundskeeper guy or something like that. It's all very idyllic.
He offers it to her.
That's right. She eventually gets there to the mansion and walks into Mr. Movie's bedroom. The wig is back on. We see footage from some film that, again, I didn't recognize because I'm a fake cinephile, apparently. They talk about Louise Brooks. He pulls a rabbit out of a hat. He thinks he's Orson Welles now and talks about creating the creation of Citizen Kane. Which, have you ever watched Citizen Kane?
I've never seen it. No, I know you watched it for the first time pretty recently, right? Within the past 2 or 3 years, I think.
Yeah, I would say probably in the last three or 4 years, and it was great. And it felt very modern in a lot of ways, which makes sense because it was the genesis for a lot of modern filmmaking techniques. But yeah, I really unequivocally thought it was a great film. So not my recommendation this week, though, going in a very different direction later on. We cut to Mr. Movies being in bed, and he's still talking about Orson Welles shit or something, and we see some footage from Citizen Kane. It's another day, and Camille arrives back at the house, but she overhears some people talking about how Mr. Movie's sole heir, his grandson, Vincent, went missing. So Mr. Movies is drinking with some guy friend of his. 10 years ago, that's right. Yeah. Mr. Movies is drinking with some guy friend of his, and they talk about farts and such. This is another famous actor or director whose name I did not capture.
Wasn't the friends he has around are just Marcello Mastroianni and Gerard Depardieu? Is there another?
Yeah, so it's one of them. I just forgot which one it was.
Okay, so just one of the 2 of them. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one was Depardieu because they talk about Depardieu's film deaths, and we see like clips of those deaths, and then the room becomes very smoky, and some brunette woman arrives. She kind of coasts through the room, and she says she's Death, and she's wearing this crazy purple dress. And then they kind of shoo her away. They don't take her seriously. And then she leaves in a puff of smoke. Back in Paris or wherever, Mika wakes Camille up off of the floor. Did she just pass out waiting for him? Was that what happened?
Yeah, I'm really not sure. I didn't
really
understand
weird.
this.
I don't know how that could possibly happen. But apparently she was waiting for him in some red lingerie. He wakes her up and she tells him she came up with a great idea for a scheme. She wants to create a stand-in for the missing grandson so they can get Mr. Movie's inheritance when he croaks in the near future. Unfortunately,
I didn't think this was very nice, by the way. What did you think about
I didn't think it was nice either. I thought it was
I don't think it's very nice to try to scam an old man out of his
This
money.
is massive
For what
fortune.
it's worth, Mr. Movies seems awesome.
Yes.
Like, he's, just like a really rich dude who seems to have made his money by doing things creatively that he was really passionate about. And he's paying her really generously in a way that makes it seem like he's probably a relatively magnanimous, like generous kind of guy.
Right. He's just really eccentric and charming and whimsical. And her first thought is, I'm already getting paid a ton of money by this guy for easy work.
Steal it
how
all.
Can I con? Yeah, how can I con him out of everything? It's an unfortunate heel turn. So she says that
we went in a very serious direction with that. I was trying to just do a bit.
Oh, were you? Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's fucked up.
It's totally uncontroversial.
You shouldn't try to scam elderly, demented people. And she notes that her boyfriend is too young to play the stand-in by about 10 years, so they need to hire someone for this scheme. Back at his house, Mr. Movies puts a woman's shoe into a chest, And later on, he's drinking with one of his guy friends. His butler is like his go-to right-hand man.
Yeah.
I think this was a
What's his
famous
name?
actor too, but he was wearing a wig, right? It looked like he was wearing a wig.
It's this guy, I believe, Henry Garcin. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. He was a Belgian actor. He actually just died 3 years ago in June of
R.I.P.
2022 at the age of 94. I don't think this guy is a very famous actor. I mean, he might be a famous Belgian actor, but he has a very Spartan Wikipedia article. The butler's name was Furman, right?
Furman, that's right.
Gauche.
Yep,
Furman
yep.
Gauche. Yeah,
Okay.
that's him.
It's windy outside, and we cut to footage of windy scenes in films. That, to me, honestly, felt kind of like some Inception shit. We were just getting layers upon layers in kind of a neat way. We get some more weird stuff. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. Again, it's all very... What's the word I'm looking for? I was going to say goofy, and that's definitely not the word, but
It's like absurdist.
yes, it's very absurdist.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like it's a little fantastical. It's not
Yes.
goofy. It's very serious.
Yes.
It's very well
Yes.
done. But like
Yes.
it seems insane when you see it in a cool way.
Yeah, and the scene concludes with his director friend saying that he wants the rights to Mr. Movies' film catalog upon Mr. Movies' passing. But Mr. Movies is non-committal to this. Later on, when Mr. Movies is back in bed, his giant-ass California king-sized bed, two old French actresses, I guess his ex-wives, visit him. And they're kind of flirty with him. And this is when I started giggling. You know, when we watch these films, I try not to talk about the film or my feelings until we're here recording, laying it out for all the citizens of De Niro Nation to hear. But I couldn't help myself. I started involuntarily chuckling to myself while I was taking my notes. And you guys obviously noticed. So I want to share what
And
I
it
wrote
wasn't
here.
a particularly funny part of the film.
No, it was not.
So I turned to Mike and I was like, "What are you laughing at? Like, I wonder if there was some joke I wasn't getting or something."
Nope.
And he said that he had just thought of a segment for the podcast. So I'm excited that we're here.
Not a segment, but a question. A totally sincere question.
Just
because
a question. Okay.
In this scene with the ex-wives, Mr. Movies is getting kind of flirty with them. And hey, why the hell not, right? They're his ex-wives. This is a real question. Do you think that this guy's rod still works?
No.
No, I don't think so, right? I don't think anything's happening from the waist down.
Well, right, because he's paraplegic. I mean, that's the way it's explained, right? And I don't know, though. I'm realizing the kind of limits of my knowledge of this kind of medicine. Like, I don't know. Are there ways neurologically that you could not be able to use your legs where you'd still be able to get an erection? I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know.
Do we have any doctors to listen to the
But
podcast?
it's like, it's not just that he's paraplegic, it's that he's also 100 years old.
Well, you don't know. There are some people who have
You
a lot of
think?
verve, I'm sure. I would
Yeah.
think. Yeah. Gotta
Wow.
be, right?
Real horn dogs.
Yeah, we got skinny tails right out at the end, of course, but there's
That's
got to be
true,
at least
yeah.
a handful of people who are, still rocking out with their cocks out at, 99 or 100 years old or whatever.
Man,
Yeah.
I don't know. Listen, honestly, I kind of hope I'm able to relax by that point. Just dial
Yeah,
it,
you're just walking
wind it-
around with an erection 23 hours
No.
and 45 minutes a
No,
day. Like
I
you just
I
want to
don't-
relax.
I don't want to be erect at all at that point. 100 years old, still trying
No, that's
to bang.
the joke I'm making.
Oh, was it?
I'm saying like something you're thinking about is like that you hope that you don't have to get erections anymore when you're 100. Like right now, it's such an imposition for you.
Oh,
You're just
yeah.
always walking around hard. Like it's like God, I can't wait till I'm not like this when I'm 100.
Yeah, we actually, I only ever record the podcast when I'm fully sprung. Well, anyways, we see some footage from Metropolis play. The ex-wives walk backwards out of frame and say their fates. They say one more will come, and it's the end of episode 2.
Wow.
All right, time for episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Actually, there's an actual. There are actual
That's gonna
titles
be
for
my
each of
film recommendation for today. It's going to be Star Wars
Celebrating,
Episode
yeah.
3 because the structure of this film made me think about the Star Wars movies.
Oh, absolutely.
It's my favorite one.
So this episode starts out with some guy we haven't seen before walking through the city with a duffel bag. He got off of some sort of airplane or something, and he enters a hotel, presumably somewhere in France. Mika meets the guy, and it's his friend's older brother who is returning from a long trip to India. This guy's name is Vincent. Everyone, the whole gang is back at the restaurant and they're hanging out, talking, whatever. Back at Mr. Movie's mansion, some lady walks in and she looks very suspicious. This was an interesting scene. She looks like a vagrant and she kind of walks up to Mr. Movies and she holds up a sign that says, "Feed me." She's very disheveled, unkempt hair, that sort of thing. Mr. Movies sees her and, using his magical powers or whatever you might call them, turns her into a princess. And he's a king. He takes her to a dance. He snaps back to reality, but then she's dressed as a knight and she leaves the estate, the country, on a horse. So I looked this up afterwards. This woman was played by, or this woman is a famous French actress, Sandrine Bonnaire. I have never seen anything that she starred in, but she definitely had a look. I was like, this isn't some random day player. This seems like one of the famous cameos. It's tough when it's, I don't know this culture, you know. I'm trying to figure it out through context clues, like the word centenary. You know, fucking slow the podcast down to a halt to look that word up.
Her character's name is the Vagabond.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Apparently, she starred in another one of Agnes Varda's films called Vagabond. So
there you go.
It all makes sense. Yes.
Yeah.
I will also note, too, because I noted it here in my notes, that everyone in this film is white. It's probably just the racial demographics of France in the mid-90s, but there are literally no people of color in this film. So take that as you will. Later on, Camille is hanging out with Mr. Movies, and they talk about homecomings in films. This is another interesting, like, heightened reality kind of scene. They're just hanging out in some room in the mansion, and out of nowhere, this random guy pops up and starts talking to the camera. We see footage from the film Paris, Texas, and we talked about that film, I think, right before we watched this, right? Didn't we talk about it pretty recently?
I don't remember. It was on my mind because we did talk about it recently, but I can't remember in what context.
Oh, that's right, because we watched this film through the Criterion Channel app, and that was one of the featured collections, was a Wim Wenders collection. So I actually watched Paris, Texas for the first time just a couple of months ago. And here's a real hot take. I feel like sometimes we are unable to share hot takes in this podcast because the wisdom of the crowd is often correct about a lot of these middling De Niro films. So here's a real hot take for the citizens of De Niro Nation who are listening to this week's episode. I didn't like Paris, Texas. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. And, that could be a conversation for another time, but I thought it was a really beautiful film, visually speaking, one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen, but I thought it was really meandering. I read afterwards that Wenders and his production crew came up with the plot as they were shooting, and you can tell. You can really tell when you're watching. And I just really disagreed with Wenders' decision to frame the film's protagonist in such a sympathetic light, which I think will make sense to those who have watched the film, but I will not say any more since my co-host has not seen the film. But suffice to say, I did not enjoy the film that much. Anyways, moving on. Camille talks to her friends about the idea, the scheme that she has, and Vincent is going to pretend to be Mr. Movie's grandson, who coincidentally is also named Vincent. We get some more weird shots of like parkour maid doing parkour in front of a bunch of little people, stuff like that. And Vincent arrives at the grounds, Mr. Movie's estate grounds. He fools the groundskeeper into thinking that he's the actual Vincent, the grandson. And we see shots of Mr. Movies seeing people who aren't actually there. Camille bikes over to the mansion and the scheme is officially on. Camille talks to Mr. Movies and his director friends about musicals. We see footage from The Producers and Singin' in the Rain, which are two musicals that I would actually like to watch. So I should add those to my watch list sometime. You know, you can't go wrong with the classics, even though I'm not really a fan of the musical genre. After that conversation, Camille leaves, and Mr. Movie's director friend once again mentions wanting the film rights to Mr. Movie's collection. Later on, Camille is out at night with Vincent. We see these French white people dancing to French hip hop, and it's very funny. They're not what I would call graceful dancers, but it seems like a fun house party kind of vibe. She arrives with Vincent right as Mika is leaving the party. So you can kind of tell their relationship seems like it's deteriorating a little bit. She follows him out, and back at Mr. Movie's mansion, Lady Death returns. She walks around silently, and he is telling her to get the fuck out of there, that he's not ready to die yet. The next morning, Mika has a conversation with Camille, and you can tell he's kind of jealous about her job, working with Mr. Movies, whatever. He says he's afraid, and I'll just ask you here, because this is where I put it in my notes. How did you feel about, well, I guess both of these characters, but really Mika?
I didn't like Mika at all. I initially liked him a little bit, but then I feel like his character really changed. Like, I feel like this is a major heel turn for him, kind of emotionally, and then just like kind of the way that he interacts with the other characters. And I feel like it wasn't developed well at all. So a lot of the things that happened with his character throughout the film just felt very sudden to me. So no, I didn't particularly care for that character. I enjoyed Camille, the main character. I thought she was warm. And I think that all joking aside about the grift, it's an absurdist kind of comedy. So I think we're just supposed to see it as kind of quirky, that they're trying to scam him, not right. Take it down. It's like on serious moral grounds. What about you? What do you think of the characters?
I completely agree 100%. I think Mika sucked. And it was just interesting the way that subplot was framed, because one thing that I like about this film's narrative, if you can even call it that, there's not much of one. I like how it is exploring film through the lens of older people who are reminiscing about their memories of films and the ways in which they've been impacted by great films. But then we're also seeing it through the lens of, young upstart, young filmmakers who are hungry to create something new. And I think that's a pretty cool idea, having those kind of running in parallel. But it's kind of funny because Mika sucks so hard. And he's kind of the director of that group of young filmmakers, of that posse.
Seems like a real asshole. Yeah.
Yeah. Back at the mansion, Mr. Movies is talking to Vincent, and Alain Delon arrives in a helicopter to pay tribute to Mr. Movies. Les Samurai himself, you haven't seen Les Samurai yet, have you?
No.
Not my recommendation this week, but I mean, you gotta up it in your list, man. It is an unequivocal 5-star film, one of the best movies I've ever seen. Quite possibly the coolest film I've ever seen. A real highlight, a neo-noir French New Wave film from the late 60s that I just... Is it possible to watch a formative film in your mid-30s? Because I watched it 2 years ago and I was just like, oh, this movie fucking rules. It's the coolest thing ever. But
I think we're all being formed, so yeah, probably.
Right? Oh, wow. That's deep, man. He talks to his butler, Furman, but Furman won't let... Delon in to see Mr. Movies because he's sick or whatever. So Delon leaves right as Camille is arriving for her shift, and she ends up, she's like, oh, I guess I can't go into work with him or talk to him because he's bedridden or whatever. He's not letting anyone in. So she ends up leaving with Delon in his helicopter to get a ride back to Paris. And right after that, some guy steals the bike that she was borrowing. Was that the guy who lent her the bike, or is that a different guy? Doesn't really matter.
I think it has to be the same guy who lent her the bike. Yeah.
Interesting geography to this place. He'll get the helicopter ride back, but Mr. Movies talks to Vincent about some other movie that I didn't recognize, and a picture of some guy like in a frame just like slides back and forth between them depending on who's in frame in a particular shot, which is kind of fun.
I like this.
Yeah, and then Furman enters the room, and he's dressed in Les Samurai's trademark trench coat and hat, which I thought was pretty neat too. I enjoyed that. Hey, it's fun to get the references, at least some of them.
Yep.
The next day or later on or something, a tour bus full of Japanese tourists arrives at Mr. Movie's house, and Mika is on the bus. This is so fucking crazy. He snuck onto the bus because he's jealous of Camille's relationship with Mr. Movies. And it's like, dude, she's getting paid a shit ton of money to talk to this super old guy 2 hours a night. What is the problem here?
If you could be jealous of this guy, then you need to get right with God.
Why aren't you happy that your broke master's student girlfriend is getting a shit ton of money to help fund your stupid fucking short film? about whatever the fuck.
Terrible guy.
Right.
Terrible guy.
We learn later on that the short film that he is trying to create, it's so funny. It's like a Tarantino knockoff. It's like some dumb mafia drama. It's so funny that's like what he was trying to make in the mid 90s, because that sort of film was so in vogue. It's just like he's completely unoriginal with what he's actually trying to create.
There has to be some intention to this character's villainous depiction, right? Like, that's got to be a little satirical in a way, right? Because the vantage point of this film is from the older people reminiscing, not from the young upstarts. So he's meant to be a little villainous.
Yeah, and a little stupid, because this tour bus of Japanese tourists, they're walking around, they're checking out the grounds, whatever, almost like it's kind of a museum. And Camille runs up to Mika and she's basically like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, you're blowing this whole fucking thing up. And he is just so weird and antagonistic. He walks up to Mr. Movies, who is a 100-year-old paraplegic man, and just gets in his face and starts yelling at him. It's super fucking weird. And Mr. Movies is like, get away from me. Like, he's afraid. He's scared by this young crazy guy. And I was just like, what is the deal with this dude? Like, what a fucking psychopath. Mika ends up leaving after that. He cools off. He has a conversation with Camille and pushes her to ask Mr. Movies to star in his short film. So Camille has a conversation with Mr. Movies and asks him, hey, will you star in my friend's short film? He says yes, as long as you host this upcoming garden party that I'm having on the grounds. This is when I wrote in my notes, I bet that is when we see Robert De Niro. We see Mr. Movies have some trouble falling asleep, and then the next day, it's garden party time. It's a beautiful day in the French countryside. It's some sort of AIDS benefit that's being hosted by an Elizabeth Taylor lookalike. We see an orchestra like playing, but they're playing fake instruments. It's an interesting thing that this film does. Sometimes they'll just have props that are just kind of like plastic cutouts of actual props. It's kind of a neat. It's a neat thing. Yep. We see this very like weird impressionistic scene of Camille walking through the crowd as they're mostly still, and Mika following her with a fake camera. People look upset. She gets handsy with Vincent. We see some more weird stuff, and then we see a close up of Mika's face, and it's all bloody. Really interesting interpretive scene. I wonder if that's kind of when he realized that she had the hots for Vincent. Maybe I'm not quite sure, but regardless, afterwards, Mr. Movies is talking to a cow. He talks to the lady leading the garden party and says that he's so charmed by the benefit and the cause that he wants to give his entire fortune away to her. Camille and Vincent look in on this meeting happening while Mr. Movies signs away all of the rights. But Vincent is cool with it. It turns out he actually just likes Mr. Movies as a guy. Yep. It's kind of a neat for his character arc. He said that he early on, he says that he's not that familiar with the movies, and they just have these conversations where they talk about cinema and great films. And then he just gets into movies. He's converted, and he's just like, I don't really want to grift the guy. He seems like a nice guy. It's like, yeah, sure. I think that's fair. You shouldn't be grifting this nice old man who just likes movies a lot, you know?
Right. He ended up giving all of his money away to charity.
And sure enough, episode 3 ends with Mr. Movies signing the new will. So this is the start of episode 4, the final episode, and Mika starts filming their short film. Meanwhile, Mr. Movies wakes up, says something about MGM while a lion walks by. We had some fun jokes while we were watching the film about that lion being abused. Not that we were actually joking about abusing a lion, but just we're making a call back to The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight episode of the podcast.
It's a great episode.
Mr. Movies is wearing some sort of Star Trek looking contraption on his head. And there's some guy who, he seems like one of those classic con artists from 100 years ago, the kind of guy who would go from like town to town in the Old West selling elixirs. He says he's a memory expert, and that with his device, he can stimulate parts of Mr. Memory or Mr. Movie's memory.
Mr. Memory's movies.
Yeah. So he like jams this rod into Mr. Movie's head, and we get this scene of Mr. Movies going to the Cannes Film Festival with Camille as his date. He can walk in this scene. So we get this wild footage of them, this fantasy sequence, going to the festival, seeing a bunch of celebrities, walking the red carpet, hanging out at a pool after, and then we cut back to him just sitting in his chair with this rod jammed into his head. We cut back to Mika and his posse filming the film, or shooting the film. And then later at night, we see Mr. Movies in bed sucking his cane for some reason, and the door opens. A woman walks in. There's a blue cast over the film, so we get the sense that this is another fantasy sequence in his head. And it seems like maybe he's remembering an old love or something, or was this death again? I don't really know what the deal was with this scene, but it's very, yeah. It's one of those scenes.
This was the part that I dozed off during.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't remember where you did that. This is the part?
Yeah, it was right. It was right around this part. Yeah.
Yeah. Why did that happen?
I don't know. I mean, it was late.
It wasn't late.
I thought I only fell asleep for like 15 seconds. It was like 9:15.
Yeah. Citizens, you can decide for yourselves whether or not you think that's late. So we get another fantasy impressionistic sequence of something or other. I don't know, but I'm going to describe it with you in great detail because what we see is an older lady in a swan boat in a pond with some guy. The lady is famous actress Catherine Deneuve, and it turns out that the guy is Robert De Niro. We finally got there. For those keeping track at home, the Robert De Niro face reveal occurs at 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 56 seconds into the film.
And to be clear, he really did say, Mike did at the beginning, it'll be an hour and a half in. You like nailed it to the minute.
My powers of precognition know no bounds. Yeah. They're going to put me in a fucking tub in Washington, D.C. and create pre-crime. During this scene, it's an interesting little scene. It's cute. It's charming. Robert De Niro speaks in French for about 3 lines, but we get just these shots of them kind of going back and forth in the pond. They do a little domestic bickering. Robert De Niro's wearing a tuxedo. I honestly really like his look in this film. He has a little ponytail.
Yeah, he looks really cool.
It's pretty neat. Ponytail guy wearing a tuxedo. And so they kind of like, whenever they bump into the edge of the pond, the lighting changes from daytime to like day for night. That happens a few times, but it's a nice little scene. But they eventually he stands up in the swan boat and falls over, and he's just kind of floating face down in the pond up to the edge of the pond. And Mr. Movies is sitting there, and he shoots Robert De Niro in the head, and then we're snapped out of that fantasy sequence. That's it, by the way. That's all the Robert De Niro we're getting in this film.
That's it.
So
yep.
really
like
hope. Hope you guys enjoyed it like an oasis in the desert. Mr. Movies departs in a car with Camille, and I guess it's to go into Paris to shoot the scene for this short film. By the time they arrive, it's dusk, which had me very confused about the geography of this whole thing because Camille was content to walk to work, right?
Yes.
So why did this car ride take them so long that the lighting changed completely?
I don't know. I think it's just one of those absurdist things.
From the twisted mind of Agnes Varda.
You don't read into it too much.
It's
not supposed to make sense.
My bad for being a critical film viewer.
It's like Inception in that way, you know.
Oh, very much
and
so.
And I think I've predicted now that I think Inception is going to be your recommendation today.
I shan't say a thing. We're not there yet. So they shoot the scene. They film. And they film a couple of scenes, and they're doing the sequence indoors. And one of Mika and Camille's girlfriends comes in, and she's like an exotic dancer. So she does a little dance, and she takes her top off, shows some nip, shows some booba, and Mr. Movies falls out of his chair, and they think he died. And fortunately, he didn't die just yet. I thought that would have been a really funny way for the movie to end if he died from seeing tits. But he gets up, and he's actually quite pleased about getting to see some hot young French titties, and says that it's time to go to Shangri-La. So Mr. Movies, Camille, and Vincent, they depart to Hollywood, where it all began. And we get a little montage of them walking around Hollywood while the Pink Panther song theme plays. We get fun little like VHS digital shots interspersed through this montage. We see them walk across the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Camille kisses Vincent, which I don't know. You think Mika would have seen coming? Like, hey, I'm going to Hollywood with this attractive, cool guy who I've been spending a lot of time with. But whatever, you know. Mr. Movies sees a bunch of actors. One of them is Harrison Ford, and we get like one quick shot of them shaking hands, and that's his entire appearance in the film, which I thought
he's in the opening credits role.
In the credits. Interesting.
Yep. The opening. He's not like in the end credits where they have more names. It's like they put that one right up in the top.
Yeah.
Like the top 7 names. Yeah.
We see some sort of award show, and it looks like Mika's short film is playing in Paris. It's like being projected outside, which is kind of cool downtown. After that, Camille walks into the restaurant where they all hang out to meet Mika. Apparently, she came back a day ago, so she waited a full day to actually like reach out to her boyfriend. So they're kind of on the outs. He's like, well, it's cool. Like, how about we hang out now? And she's like, no, I have shit to do. And he's like, well,
she says she has to sleep.
Right. And then he's like, well, how about I come over tonight? And she's like, no, I have shit to do. Just when I'm coming over. He really biffed that relationship. But we see footage of people drowning, a couple more clips. And then the film ends with this scene. I think it's from some film. I don't know. Of some guy running like in a city past these barriers.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, you're probably asleep again. And that's how.
Not, but.
Yeah, and that's how the film ends. So, I hope that was a sufficient recap of this film. Mike, it's time to move into our final ratings, and I'm very excited to hear, what did you think of 101 Nights?
I really liked this movie. I don't know. I really can't. It's not for me, you know, and so I think that that challenges me a little bit from a rating perspective. I feel like I'm not from this culture, right? So I feel like there was a lot of French cultural and stuff specific to French cinema apocrypha that didn't necessarily resonate with me in the way that it would have on the part of the person for whom this film was intended. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really visually striking and in a very good way and just super competently produced overall. I thought the costumes were really nice. The set design was really nice. I enjoyed the absurdist visual elements and just the general, like, very odd sort of structure to the film. I thought it was all really good, and I really liked the character of Mr. Movies. I thought he was a lot of fun, and I just enjoyed getting to spend a couple of hours with him. And so I'm gonna give it 4 stars.
All right, a Fab's 4. That's nice. I'll tell you, I really went back and forth on my final rating for this film. So I also really liked this film. I thought that I was really charmed despite myself, because I normally don't like camp. I don't like this sort of quirky shit. And this film, it's very messy. It's very campy. It's very fragmented. It feels like a cinematic scrapbook more than an actual film. You know, it feels like a collage of sorts. But I really appreciated its energy. It's so playful and nostalgic and sincere and unpretentious about its love of film history in a way that I found really endearing and infectious. I thought it achieved its goal of being this love letter to the first 100 years of cinema. And it was really neat seeing these cameos from all these famous actors and directors. I really liked Agnes Varda's sense of humor and whimsy and curiosity. I really enjoyed the visual variety of each segment and vignette. And I really appreciated that it was self-aware, but not cynical. You know, the film has some limitations. I think that it's emotionally uneven. I really didn't care for Mika's whole character or subplot, really, even though it makes sense within the larger context of the film. Some of the humor was hit or miss, and the pacing was a little off in some places. It was just very loose. You know, it was a very loose film. But I really appreciated it emotionally, and I think I'm landing on a soft 4 out of 5 as well. It was a little uneven and indulgent, but I just appreciated how singular and affectionate the film was, that I just couldn't help but be charmed by it. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a really nice film. And I thought, honestly, like, this is the magic of our hero De Niro and the random roll. Like, we rolled this film as our 49th film. We're wrapping up the year. This was our final roll of the year. And we were able to wrap it up with this celebration of cinema as an art. How nice is that?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I agree.
And on that note, is there anything that you'd like to recommend in addition to 101 Nights?
Yeah, I really struggle with this. I tried to go
kind of a running theme for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm really struggling right now. I decided to go with something that has a sort of similar kind of absurdist, surrealist tone to this film, but that I really earnestly love and feel like is for me. And so I am going to recommend the 1998 Peter Weir film, The Truman Show.
Oh,
this is I don't really know what to say. I mean, if you've never seen The Truman Show, you really ought to watch it. It's a real masterpiece. So it stars Jim Carrey, and he plays this kind of, I guess, like late young adulthood coming into middle age gentleman named Truman Burbank, who is essentially living in this constructed fantasy world for him. He thinks that he lives in the real world, but he is actually a part of this extremely elaborate like simulation reality TV show where he's just surrounded by cameras all the time. And it's the most popular show on earth where everybody is just watching The Truman Show. And it's just his life all the time, 24 hours a day, essentially, even when he's sleeping. And it's just about that. You know, I don't really want to say anything else about it other than that general premise. But it's got a very earnest kind of tone to it, in spite of the tone also being very surreal in nature. And it's just an incredible film. I would really strongly recommend it. Easy 5-star from me. Where's The Truman Show on the Mike Back at You rating scale, Mike?
That is also a 5-star film for me. Yeah, I highly recommend The Truman Show. Great film.
Yep, really, really
nice
good.
recommendation.
Yep, there you go. What about you, Mike? Are you gonna go with Inception?
Actually, no.
I'm just laughing thinking about how funny if it was Inception, because it's like the only film you talked about during the recap. It's just like, wow, this guy, like the only film he's ever seen is Inception.
Well, earlier in the film, we get references to Les Samurai, which I absolutely love, and I did strongly consider making that my recommendation. But then I decided to go one layer deeper, a little weirder, a little more offbeat with my recommendation. So I'm actually going to recommend, and you'll understand why I mentioned Les Samurai, I'm going to recommend the 1999 Jim Jarmusch film, Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai. You ever seen this film?
No.
Do you know anything about it?
No.
So this is a film that I watched for the first time pretty recently, back in December of 2023. It's my first Jim Jarmusch film, and I watched it after I watched Les Samurai. And I actually remembered not the film itself, but I remembered the DVD box of this film, because it's one of those films that I often saw at our local video rental store back when that was a thing.
It has a super funny poster.
Yeah, it really does. And
it's like one of the most late 90s things I've ever seen in my life.
Right. I thought it was just like straight to DVD trash, because I didn't really know about Forrest Whitaker. I didn't know about Jim Jarmusch. No, turns out this movie fucking rules. So it is essentially a remix or reinterpretation of Les Samurai, but through Jim Jarmusch's very singular, idiosyncratic lens. It stars Forrest Whitaker as a lone hitman who lives by the samurai code in then modern New Jersey. He's a really weird, solitary guy who communicates via carrier pigeon and serves a fading mob and faces betrayal after a botched hit. And it's just such an interesting film that mixes crime drama, philosophy, and deadpan humor into this urban fable. It's a very minimal film. It's meditative. It's funny in a very odd way. And what I really like about it, and why I wanted to recommend it, in addition to 101 Nights, is that much in the way that Agnes Varda, created this idiosyncratic homage to the first 100 years of cinema as a whole, Jim Jarmusch is remixing Les Samurai in a similar sort of way. It's just a really neat film, very melancholy compared to Varda's more playful 101 Nights. But I think it makes a nice companion. It's an offbeat pick, but I really enjoyed watching it. And I think you should all go out and watch Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai.
It sounds awesome. I put it on my watch list. I think the art is so funny to me. It really is like, it's one of the most direct to DVD movie posters I've ever seen in my life.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, and Forrest Whitaker has such a commanding presence, but for the photo, they've shot him from below, and he looks like a little like Meek almost, like looking down at the camera, and like his hood is like obscuring most of his head, and it's like it's really odd. Yeah, but it sounds like a great film. I'm looking forward to watching it.
It's a cool film. I think you'll like it. It's a pretty chill time, and it's less than 2 hours.
There you go. Yep.
But the recommendations don't stop there, because immediately after watching the film, a friend of the pod, wife of the pod, Caroline, sent us an email that we are duty bound to read.
All right, I've pulled it up.
This includes an image that we're going to link to in the show notes. So I really do encourage you guys to pull it up. It's going to be much easier for you to see it than it is for me to describe it. So Caroline's email says, I had the honor and privilege of watching 101 Nights with the two of you last night and told you I would write in with a film recommendation. Unfortunately, I couldn't decide on just one, since I could think of several that seemed perfect in various ways. I have thus made a helpful graphic that will illustrate my conundrum based on which attributes each movie shares with 101 Nights. Please describe and discuss, and link it in the show notes because it took me a long time. Side note, De Niro may have become a world-class boxer to prepare for his role in Raging Bull, but learning how to speak with a decent French accent for his 3 lines in 101 Nights was apparently not worth the paycheck. Just goes to show, Po Buddy's nerfect. Sincerely, Indulgent Vendeur. It's a pun on indulgence vendor, even though that does not make sense in this context. Before I get to the image, I just want to say, too, that Caroline sent me a late-breaking message 59 minutes ago saying, eventual disclaimer, I do not recommend every movie I put into the Venn diagram, but felt that I needed to fill each space with something. Sure. So let me describe this Venn diagram, and let me know if you have any comments about these films as we go through them. So this is a Venn diagram with 4 overlapping circles. The circles are movies, fantasy, strange old man, and colors. So I did the work of writing this out earlier. So at the center of this intersection is 101 Nights. For movies, only movies, her recommendation, or the movie that she put in, I'm just going to say recommendation, fuck it. Her recommendation is Hail Caesar.
I love Hail Caesar.
Yeah, good film, good pick. That would have been a good recommendation.
I recommended it on the podcast.
Yeah. Fantasy is a film called Mirror Mask that we've never heard of. Nothing to say there. For Strange Old Man, the recommendation is Bicentennial Man. That was
Are you going to tell the story?
Sure. You know, we actually rewatched that film on my Twitch stream a few years ago, I think back in 2021. Really funny because you were adamant that it was a good film. Your memory of it was that it was good. Was
so wrong.
I told you. I said, I'm pretty sure it's not, man. I remember it being pretty bad. And we watched the film, and yeah, I think Bicentennial Man sucks.
It's quite bad. I agree. Yeah.
I also remember, I don't remember why it came up. It was probably because we were doing it, this thing on my Twitch back in the day, twitch.tv/Mike back at you. We were at a bar happy houring, and I remember we were in like a group of people talking about Bicentennial Man, and someone had never seen the film before. And so you described the film to them. And you said, I think it takes place over the course of 30 or 40 years. I remember a beat passing and me just saying, it's called Bicentennial Man.
Oh, that's so funny.
And for the category, really the final category, colors, the film recommendation there is Hero, which, have you ever seen Hero?
Oh, I love Hero.
Yeah, Hero
it's an
rules.
Incredible film.
Great film. So now we're getting more into the weeds here with the ones that are 2 overlapping categories. So for the intersection of movies and fantasy, we have the anime film Millennium Actress, which is on my watch list. Definitely looking forward to watching that.
It's on my watch list.
At the intersection of movies and colors is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's a film we had the pleasure of watching together at our local independent film theater, The Little. So that's a neat one.
There you go.
I remember the crowd went nuts during the climax of that film. Really fun movie-going experience.
I agree.
Oh, yeah, really good. At the intersection of fantasy and Strange Old Man is the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. You ever watch this film?
No, have you?
No, I would never watch this film. That is way too cutesy. That is way too cutesy of a title for me. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. No, thank you. And then at the intersection of Strange Old Man and Colors is the French film Amélie, which I need to watch someday because I really, the poster is like seared into my memory, even though I don't necessarily think I'll like it. You ever see that film?
It's the face that Caroline makes. Yeah, it's one of Caroline's favorite films.
Do you like it?
I like it all right. I think it's nice. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And then at the intersection of 3 categories, at the intersection of movies, fantasy, and Strange Old Man, we have the Wes Anderson film Asteroid City, which I liked well enough in the way that I, like all of Wes Anderson's later films. They make no lasting impression on me, though.
I agree. I liked Asteroid City just fine. It's really incredible how you watch like everything made after the Darjeeling Limited, and to me it all feels the same. It's like, yeah, I enjoyed that. You know, I will never think about it again.
I completely agree. I think for me, it's after Moonrise Kingdom. A lot of people say that The Grand Budapest Hotel is Wes Anderson's best work, and I guess I should reevaluate it, rewatch it, because I really like Ralph Fiennes. That might have been it for me. I like cannot remember a goddamn thing about the French Dispatch, or I was about to say Meteor City, Asteroid City, or the
Can't
new one,
remember the name.
The Phoenician Scheme. They're like, I watched them.
I haven't watched the Phoenician Scheme.
I like them.
That.
They're all a solid 4 out of 5, and then I forget about them.
Yeah, I liked the Roald Dahl Netflix things, honestly,
that was
more
really
than
good.
I've liked any of his more recent films.
I actually think that was
I
really
think
good.
that he is really matched to that subject matter. Like, he does Roald Dahl really well, and those stories are so strong in and of themselves. So I think that worked super, super well.
I agree. At the intersection of movies, fantasy, and colors is The Fall, which is a film that I need to see. It's been on my list for a while. I know the 4K restoration just came out. And last but not least, at the intersection of fantasy, Strange Old Man, and colors is Poor Things. What do you want to say about Poor
Yorgos, baby.
Things? Yeah.
I fucking hate Poor Things. I don't like Yorgos at all. I did not like Poor Things when we first watched it. And I was like, well, people seem to really like Yorgos, so I should watch some more of his films. And I think I've seen 3 others. I've seen Bones and All, Strange Kinds of Kindness, and a 4th one that I can't think of what it is right now. And no, not a fan. It's kind of little pseudo-intellectual for me. But who knows? That's not a popular take. What about you? What do you think of Poor Things and Yorgos?
We try to watch all of the Best Picture nominees each year, and I'm sure we'll do some sort of Oscar special next year for the podcast. But that was one of those films that I watched in anticipation of the Oscars, and I didn't really like it. And I did not feel compelled to watch any more of the director's films. I gave it 3.5 out of 5, and that is really the gentleman's 3. I think, inflated the score a bit because everyone liked it so much, and because it's a Best Picture nominee. The
gentleman's 3.
The gentleman's 3, 3.5. Yeah. I did not think that film had enough ideas in its tank to justify its 141-minute long runtime. But to each their own. But Caroline, thank you for the letter and complicated Venn diagram. And
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really something. I hope everyone takes a look at it in the show notes. Now, normally we would move over to our final segment of the random roll, but there are no more rolls for the rest of the year. Next week is our 50th episode spectacular, which I am so excited to host, even though I don't really know what I'm going to do for it yet. After that is the Christmas-related film Falling in Love, and then our final film of the year is New Year's Eve, which I will be recapping, which I'm not quite as excited about, but I think it's a very appropriate way to end the year.
Certainly is.
Hard to believe it's been almost a full year of Our Hero De Niro.
It's beautiful.
Sure, I think it's a lot better than it was when we started, so that's nice.
Yeah, I agree. It keeps getting better.
And on that note, it's time to wrap it up with one of my trademark short outros. I'd like to take a moment to thank all the citizens of De Niro Nation for listening every week. I'd also like to thank Caroline, not just for her letter this week, but for the wonderful artwork that graces everyone's podcast app when they listen to this podcast. I want to encourage everyone to... What do I encourage people to do? Rate us? Yeah, just rate us, right?
Rate and subscribe, right?
I was gonna like and subscribe, and I was like, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just gonna redo that.
That's fucking bullshit, man.
It's not bullshit. What do you mean it's bullshit?
So you don't get to redo it. You have to just keep going. You're making a point right now, and you're gonna redo it and edit it.
Oh my god. Yeah, I listen. I edit yours too. Jesus.
This has to be. This is it. Keep going.
I'd like to take this time to thank all the citizens of De Niro Nation for tuning in every week and listening. I'd like to thank Caroline, not just for writing the letter and creating a Venn diagram for us, but also for creating our podcast's wonderful artwork. I'd like to encourage everyone to rate us 5 stars in Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and to follow us on Letterboxd. I'm Mike Back At You on that platform, and Mike is Mike the Fab. Please email us anything at ourherodeniro@gmail.com. And that's it, right? That's all the stuff.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week with our 50th,
we're doing next week?
50th episode spectacular.
Yep.
Can't wait. We'll see you there. Have a great one.
See you next week.
C'est payé.